Did you know that a decillion is a large number with 33 zeros? That is how absurd Russia's punishment against Google is for YouTube. You've undoubtedly heard the news by now, but just in case, I'll repeat it. Russia has hit Google with a record-breaking $2.5 billion penalties for YouTube. Yes, you heard that correctly. A decillion. It's a startling figure, especially given that it's a government sanction enforced on a corporate behemoth. To put this figure into context, counting from 1 to 2.5 decillion at a pace of 1 number per second would take more than 80 billion years. This is more than 5 times the age of the cosmos. So, needless to say, this fine is substantial, and it will have far-reaching consequences for Google, YouTube, and the internet sector in general. The size of this punishment demonstrates how seriously Russia is treating this matter, and we'll go over the facts of what brought us to this point in just a minute. But first, let us take a step back and comprehend the scope of this event. It's not every day that a firm is hit with such a large punishment, and Google isn't going to take it lightly. Google has long faced a series of legal and regulatory issues in Russia. The government has been pushing down on technology businesses, accusing them of breaking the country's stringent internet regulations. YouTube, in particular, has been targeted by Russian authorities for posting content that they consider indecent or politically sensitive. At the core of the problem is Russia's insistence that Google comply with its internet rules, which include eliminating information deemed extreme or encouraging suicide behavior. Google, on the other hand, has said that it is hard to totally delete such information without breaking its community guidelines. The Russian government has argued that Google's algorithms are partially to blame for the dissemination of damaging information, and that the firm should take greater responsibility for what is uploaded on its platforms. Google, on the other hand, has stated that it is trying its best to remove such information, but that it is a complicated issue that necessitates a more sophisticated approach. Russia has also demanded that Google pay significant fines for each incident of non-compliance. Do you appreciate the video? If so, please subscribe, like, and share our videos to get more updated and entertaining stuff. Let us proceed. And this 2.5 trillion fine is the result of months of conflict between the two sides. It's a typical situation of a government attempting to assert its power over a corporate behemoth, and Google fighting back against what it perceives as overreach. The fine is not only a symbolic act, it has practical ramifications for Google's bottom line. The corporation is already under financial strain from a host of other penalties and litigation throughout the world, and this recent development will only add to its problems. For YouTube users, the consequences are as dire. If Google is compelled to comply with Russia's demands, it may stifle free expression and creativity on its platform. On the other side, if Google decides to resist Russia, it may result in a full ban on YouTube in the nation, with disastrous ramifications for the millions of Russians who use the platform every day. The entire tech sector is also keeping a close eye on this scenario, since it will establish a precedent for how governments throughout the world deal with technology businesses. If Russia is successful in imposing its will on Google, it may encourage other nations to follow suit, resulting in internet fragmentation and a deterioration in online freedoms. Google has already issued a statement expressing disappointment with the penalties and is examining its options. Russian officials, on the other hand, have stated that they are eager to collaborate with Google to find a solution, but that the business should take their requests more seriously. One thing is evident: this fine will not be settled anytime soon. It's a complicated topic that necessitates a thorough grasp of internet governance, and both parties are committed to the long term. As the scenario develops, it becomes evident that the fine is about more than simply Russia versus Google. It is about the future of the internet itself. Will governments worldwide be able to force their will on technology companies? Or will the corporations be able to fight back and keep their independence? One important comment that piqued our interest was when a Russian official stated that Google must follow Russian regulations and that the internet is not a lawless environment. This phrase precisely captures the thinking of the Russian regime. They believe they have the authority to govern the internet and impose their own form of order on it. Another watershed moment came when Google stated that it will block all political adverts on YouTube in Russia. This decision was interpreted as a direct challenge to the Russian government, which has been accused of abusing its power to repress political opposition. The restriction on political advertisements was interpreted as a means for Google to establish its independence and resist Russia's demands. However, it appeared to irritate the Russian government even more, prompting it to escalate its demands for cooperation. One thing is certain as the situation plays out: this fine will not be settled anytime soon. It's a complicated topic that necessitates a thorough grasp of internet governance, and both parties are committed to the long term. So, what does this fine imply for the future of technology regulation? It's essentially a warning shot, a reminder to tech corporations that governments throughout the world are eager to challenge them when it comes to internet regulation. The consequences are far-reaching and profound, with the ability to transform the foundation of the internet as we know it. As we progress, it will be more crucial than ever to be aware and watchful. The future of internet freedom is at stake. To recap, Russia has fined Google a record-breaking 2.5 trillion rubles for violating its internet regulations through YouTube. The fine has far-reaching consequences for Google, YouTube users, and the larger digital sector, and it establishes a precedent for how governments throughout the world interact with technology corporations. The scenario is complex and nuanced, with both sides committed for the long term. As we progress, it will be more crucial than ever to be aware and watchful. The future of internet freedom is at stake. So how do you feel about this outrageous fine? Do you think Russia is justified in imposing it? Or do you think Google should oppose what it sees as overreach? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our other video on tech regulations and major fines in the industry. Subscribe to the Virtual Vault and join our vibrant community of forward thinkers, change makers, and revolutionaries.